This is Steve Vinson. You're about to experience the life science effect. Hello, aspiring leaders. Welcome to another episode of the Life Science Effect, where we work to answer the question, what does it take for me to be an effective leader in the field of life sciences? Each week, we will talk to the best in the business to answer your questions about what it takes to be a leader in life sciences. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And always be asking yourself, what effect will you cause? We're here today with Rajesh Perianayagam, and I'm told that that's not even close, but it's better than most. Rajesh, he is a PhD molecular geneticist with over 15 years in agri-sciences, pharma, biotech, and in academia. He has experience in both R&D and in business development, which gives him a unique entrepreneurial mindset that he refers to as R&D to revenue. I like that. Which means, I think, if I read this correctly, discovering, validating, implementing, and commercializing innovative solutions effectively and as quickly as possible. So, aside from butchering your name, how else did we do? Fill in any gaps for me.
First of all, Steve, thank you for having me on your show. This is my first podcast from my side. And you gathered the information about me very well. But I can connect all my overall experience and then at every step what I learned. So that connects the story of my experience, and then it'll connect me to where I am at this point. What motivated me to become an entrepreneur.
Great. I think I forgot to mention, which is horrible podcast etiquette. Rajesh is the founder and CEO of Karyosoft. Am I saying that correctly?
Perfect. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Which is a startup, you'll say it better than me, but a startup technology company to help molecular geneticists manage their data.
Biologist, man. Yeah, exactly.
Biologist, okay.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, okay,
you got
great.
It right.
So sorry to interrupt.
Oh, don't
Keep
worry.
going.
Yeah. So, see, when I was, my bachelor's degree was in chemistry. But I was not very much into that subject. But I was so passionate about life sciences, biotechnology, that area. So at that time of my career, the biotechnology was coming at the master's level, not at the bachelor's level. And then the field was very hot at that time. So it was very competitive. It was very national level competition. Only you get admission to universities to study biotechnology. So I took the chance, and then I switched my field at that time from a master's onwards to life sciences. And then since then I am in life sciences until today. Okay. I will always be, although I started a different company, tech startup, everything, I consider myself as a life scientist always. Okay. So in my extensive career in academics, what I learned was I was spending more time on the discovery part. I was discovering different, genes, and then developing tools, so on and so forth. I never really got the opportunity how to apply my discovery to the field. So I didn't get the chance. So when I got into the commercial ag biotech industry, that was the first thing. My first job was to apply molecular genetics. So that helped me how the discovery what you do in the lab can be applied in the field. In the field, in the sense, internal customers. Okay. Yeah. So that means we are applying our lab discovery to improve the crop improvement in the field. That is the idea. So then, so that connected me from discovery to the lab. So lab to field. Yeah. But during that time, I interacted with a lot of entrepreneurs and then external vendors to develop tools, or internal customers, also internal software developers. We develop a lot of tools, and then I learned quite a bit on that, but I didn't know the business angle. So when I switched to the job to business domain, that is where I learned how to convert R&D into revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a very long story, which is because at that time my thought was, any ideas what I have, that is innovation. Yeah, I did a good job like that. But if that idea cannot be converted into revenue, the idea has no value, honestly, right, in the real world. So that is the transition of my university to ag biotech industry, and from there pharma biotech industry connected me to think as an entrepreneur level. Then I compiled my strength, and then now I'm applying that in the real world to solve the real world problem.
So what caused you to go from solving those problems for big corporations to, okay, you have an idea and you're going to take a plunge and take a risk and take on a bunch of risk to be an entrepreneur?
It's a passion, I would say that. See, my nature is, I always like to do what I love the most. So I am very methodical in terms of thinking what to do. Also, I don't need to have a full plan, but it's a matter of whether I can do it or not. That is the idea, whether I like it or not. So when I, frankly speaking, I didn't know what entrepreneurship until 2015, I would say that.
Okay.
I was pretty much mindset is work towards, work hard and then contribute. That is the idea. But I always felt one thing is, I always wanted to do something. That is the mindset I had for a long time. But now my mindset has changed. I always wanted to do something impactful. That makes a huge difference in the world. That is my current take. So my couple of my friends got me into that entrepreneurship. They just introduced me, and then, hey, there is a startup culture is coming like that. So it is not just yesterday I became entrepreneur. It has been it's a work in progress for 2 years.
Okay.
So I've been thinking about, and then I watched a lot of YouTube videos and many videos how the startup culture is and what it means and everything. It excited me, honestly. Hey, this is a place I want to be. Let me try this. Because I want to put myself in a real world by myself and then gain all the experience, So that was an idea. But frankly speaking, what I'm doing is the fourth idea I'm exploring.
Oh, wow.
Because
okay.
the last three times I did something, and then it was like a child learning to walk like this. So those things, it worked out, and then finally this one, we got into that and we plunged, and then officially we launched the company, everything we started doing right now. So that was the background of that.
And are you self-funded, or did you get seed funding?
You are absolutely. We are self-funded company, and we are definitely working towards, there are 4 areas we are basically focusing on at this point. Number one is complete the MVP, minimum viable product, and get into the market as quickly as possible, and expand our customer base. And third one is customize the software. It depends on the customer's need. Then fourth one is the funding. So those are the 4 areas. Strategically, we are moving towards thinking and then rapidly developing on that one. So
there is in the first, I think we're about 10 minutes in, so much value to unpack in that. I think just to see if I'm hearing you correctly and see if we can point out a few things here. One is the idea of revenue. And when we say revenue, of course, we're talking about making money, right? And one of the things I've thought about when I was younger, and I talk to younger people now, and they say it, is money is almost a bad thing. Like, oh, you're just doing this to make money. What about saving lives? Well, the way that our society has decided to measure value is with money. And if you're making revenue, that means somebody else saw it as important enough to pay money for it.
Exactly.
Whether it's an individual who needs the therapy that you're developing, or a government who's a single payer However that gets paid for through the most socially just means possible, there's still money.
Yes.
And that money allows you to not have to be at a big corporation. You can continue solving problems as an entrepreneur, and you can put that money into new solutions. So
Exactly, yeah.
money's not the root of evil. It's the greed might be,
Yeah.
but so that's hugely important if you're going to be an entrepreneur or just try to get yourself through a good career.
Yes.
Is the idea that money is a measure of value, can be a measure of value.
Yeah.
The other thing you said, you just want to make the biggest impact possible.
Yes.
And so you've decided the way to do that is to bring your own ideas
Yes.
and take risks on your own as opposed to implementing somebody else's ideas at a large corporation.
Yes,
right?
yeah, you're right. I collected many ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and then I tried to evaluate which one to go forward with. And some of the ideas what we have involves a lot of manufacturing and so on and so forth, where I don't have experience on that. And then besides, this is the first time I'm entering into the entrepreneurship certainly. And then I wanted to evaluate which is doable.
Yep.
Thing, from my capability, and then what we can do, and then what matches with our personal interest, personal experience, and then where we can make an impact. So those are the ways. Yeah, we can come up with multiple ideas, but we have to come up, like I mentioned earlier, how many ideas are impactful.
Yeah.
That's the key. So that is the first lesson in entrepreneurship. You know, so
Make an
you
impact.
develop product which customers will be willing to pay for.
Yeah.
You know? So if you create value to them, then money comes to you, not a problem at all. So that is the background on entrepreneurship. So
that's hugely important. You know, when people think about, I want to be an entrepreneur, what does that mean? I think that statement in less than 15 words is create value.
Exactly.
If you create value, money will come either from a customer or from a venture capital firm or a seed capital firm that sees the value. If you create value, you're not going to have any trouble with money. That's for sure.
That is true, yeah.
And the other thing you said that is hugely important too is this isn't your first idea.
Yeah.
You had to try a few things, and some entrepreneurs maybe fail brilliantly, like hugely fail, but that's good because you learned something, right?
Yeah.
It probably won't be your first idea
Yeah.
that makes the big impact.
That is true, yeah. The point what you mentioned is correct. I mean, this is something, when I was in R&D, I was thinking in isolation, meaning I was thinking like coming up with an idea is great, that makes me a better person like that. But after I learned the business side, being put myself in a business related job, it made it very clear that if you cannot convert that idea into currency and to get it to the customer who is willing to pay and make an impact like that, then what is the value of what we are doing?
Right.
So both the R&D innovation and product development and then business development, both are equally important to build a successful business. That is my new learning.
That's great.
There is a long way to go, but this is the quick learning I learned being an entrepreneur at this point.
So when you're moving forward and you start to grow, what will you be looking for? I assume when you're looking, think about people to help you lead the company.
Yes.
What kinds of characteristics will you be looking for, do you think?
I got in the past a privilege of leading large projects and also be a team in big projects. So almost 100% of the project which I have initiated, we completed that. For me, the most important thing is not completing the deliverables, but also the recognition for the team. That is the end point for me. Okay, so that completes the story personally for me. So I have seen working with a lot of people, so that I have a fair idea of what works, what doesn't work. So I learned quite a bit. So personally, what I would say is when I'm looking for collaborators or partners or another leaders who want to join our company, I would look for a person with who's smarter than me. Okay.
Yeah.
And also have good empathy, have empathy as a skill set, and a team-oriented mind. If a person with all three qualities would be the ideal one for me. The reason is the empathy is one nice character. Is it makes you to think from opponent's point of view, and then you feel for them. So this is one of the business side we always think. You always think from the customer's point of view, then deliver what customer wants, like that, So that brings a lot of value to the organization, a person with that attitude, and also that helps to work with the team, because the team, personally I believe that as a team you can achieve anything you want. That I strongly believe in that. But if you do alone, I don't believe that you can achieve anything. So as a team, that works well. So when team forms, that team consists of people. So the people should complement and then smarter and challenge each other without having conflicts, So and then have empathy with respecting each other. So that is an ideal condition for me. That is the kind of characteristics I will look for. That increases productivity a lot.
Right.
Because if people don't get along, you spend a lot of time dealing with the unwanted things rather than what really matters to solve.
Right. Yeah, like absolutely.
So that is the point basically I look for in collaboration. Yeah.
So what are your obstacles now? What are you struggling with?
Oh, like I mentioned, we are a self-funded, fast-growing startup company, right? So, and like I mentioned, our the focus are on the 4 areas. Number one is get into the market with the MVP as quickly as possible. Second is customer base increase. That's very important. People should be aware of what we are doing, and then they are ready to do that. So that means right now we are in the early stage. I'm looking for early responders as customer base right now I'm referring to, and that way if somebody is willing to collaborate with us, then that helps us to grow the product, and then we can serve the society in a better way, specific customers. And then the third one is I'm working on building the team, appropriate team with appropriate skills in technical and biological and on the science side and the sales side and so on and so forth. The fourth one is funding. So we are, to answer your question, we are limited with the resource because of funding scenario. We don't have unlimited resources like big corporate companies like that.
Right.
So we have some limitation. See, the thing is, in the last few months, I interacted with a lot of customers and asked them what they need and all the stuff. So the thing is, every customer, the requirements of each customer is different. So if we want to satisfy, we cannot satisfy with one product multiple people. So we can build a core one and then customize that based on the individual customer. That is the best way to go at this point, I feel. So if we want to do that, we need to have a turnaround rate quickly to put our software on the customer's system, and they can start using that and understand the value of what value we are generating internally, like that. So because of that limited resource, we don't have the quick turnaround time to fulfill customers' want. That is connected with the funding part. So that is the major obstacle we are facing at this point. But we will get there. There's no doubt. I'm pretty confident that we will be there. But this is the current scenario for us.
It's almost like entrepreneur school listening to you, because getting that in everything I've heard or listened to or read or whatever, getting that MVP out there quickly is absolutely the first thing you want. The old school used to me anyway, it used to seem like people said, no, we have to develop the perfect product so that then we can do a big launch and we'll have a big announcement and do ads and things like that. And then we'll be rich. And the thinking these days, and maybe it has been for a long time, is absolutely not. You need to be iterating quickly. You need a minimum viable product out there so that you can get experience and learn and find out what the customer really wants.
Exactly.
Now you're adding value. Now maybe you can get funding, right?
Exactly.
So, absolutely. Thank you for that.
Sure.
How about keys to success? Maybe share a recent win, something like that.
See, we are a startup, right? So we have more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but good thing is we are making progress, So the time we started and then where we are at this point, it is a rapid progress. And in my opinion, I'm proud of our current position, the way our growth so far.
Yeah.
So we position ourselves for a lot of things. And what was your question?
A recent win or key to success?
A key to success is, I will start with the key to success. That is, in my opinion, it is, you do what you love to do that. So that makes me to put 110% of the effort. So that is the key. And that way I won't have any regrets in the future also, because my philosophy is, if you love something new, if you get exposed to something new, and then if you love to do that and you think you can do this one, you can put your heart 100% or 110%, then go into that.
Yeah.
Just do it. And no question asked. That way, after 5 years, you don't have to go back and tell, I could have done it and I should have done like this. So that is something I don't like to do. That. So this is entrepreneurship is one thing. So I'm very much into this one. And so choose something what you love. That is the key to success. I would say that, because that helps you to take you to the next level. Or wherever you want to be, it'll take you there. It'll give a peace of mind also. And naturally, I am a kind of a risk taker.
Yeah.
So that is that needs to be there in my opinion, but not. It depends how it varies from people to people. But I am naturally a sort of risk taker type of person. So these are the few quick things I would say that. I wouldn't say there is one single point, one factor that is the best everything, but it is a mixture of a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
In terms of the recent win, I would say the invitation from you is the recent win for me.
Flattering the host doesn't really get you anywhere.
I'm not trying to go anywhere using you, but you invited me like that, right?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, this is one type of recognition for me. Somebody whom I met, who looked at me and then talked to me. Then you invited me to be in the podcast, and then asking me to spread my journey to other entrepreneurs who are aspiring entrepreneurs. In my opinion, that is a good reward, I feel.
Great.
Good win like that.
Well, I hope you are able to, I hope we were able to reach somebody who's thinking about doing it and they're inspired by your words. I know certainly they will learn a lot from what you have to say. And so if somebody wants to learn more about your company or you in general, where should they go?
We have our website, www.kareosoft.com. And that website has all the information. And then if you have any email contact, you can send info@kareosoft.com.
Super easy. Easy. That's KARYOSOFT.com. And I'll put a link on wherever this podcast is posted.
That would be helpful, actually.
Or my email address comes in the end, and you can always say, hey, what was the guy's name? Absolutely happy to do that. So how about a little break?
Yeah.
And then when we come back, are you ready for the rapid fire round?
I'm born ready for that.
All right. We'll be right back. A very special thanks to our first sponsor this week. It's the Indiana Health Industry Forum. IHIF is a statewide trade association representing Indiana's health science business community.
That's good.
The diverse members of the Indiana Health Industry Forum generate the collective voice of the state's health and life science industry. Their mission is to connect key stakeholders to enhance business networks, advocate for member interests, develop workforce skills, and provide strategic vision in the interest of growing the state's health industry, economy, and reputation. Please take a look at their site for more information. It's ihif.org, and you can learn about how they serve members across Indiana. Their leadership members include companies like Lilly, Cook, IU Health, and some other sponsors of theirs are Roche and Fort Wayne Metals. So please check out ihif.org and check out their sponsors. And thank you so much to Kristen Jones, their fabulous CEO and president, and also thanks to IHIF. Now back to the show. And we're back, and we're ready. I'm ready. Are you ready for the rapid fire round?
I am ready.
That's my announcer voice.
Fire away.
Okay. Rapid fire. Finish this sentence. The one principle I will never compromise is...
For me, work is very, very, very important. Okay. So I cannot compromise the sincerity, dedication, and loyalty to what I do.
So that's 3. Well, that's 4. You started with work ethic, right?
Yeah.
Work is important to you.
Yeah.
I think those are all. You'll never compromise any of those, will you?
Yep.
Perfect.
I'll never do that. Yep.
What's one thing every aspiring leader should stop doing today? We always hear what we should be doing. So I thought I'd say, cut this out. It's not serving you.
Stop being artificial. I mean, this is my personal one. Personally, I feel when I am interacting with people who see, leadership is being a leader is a responsibility. So people look up to such people for something. So if we don't convey our correct message to people, being artificial or being vague and something like that, that I hate. If you stop doing that, it's just a good thing.
Be yourself. Be yourself. Everybody else is already taken. So
yes,
be you.
Exactly.
Yeah, great. So what should everybody who's aspiring to be a leader or an entrepreneur start doing today?
Think yourself as a leader. I can give you an example. A couple of years back, I attended a leadership related workshop. The first question the class tutor asked everyone was, how many of you are leaders here? Then the people raised their hand was only the people leader, managers.
Yeah.
So then the tutor corrected everyone that, no, you all are leaders. You all have a responsibility of influencing the society and then make difference. So that is the one I would say, that start thinking, you change your mindset as you are a leader too.
Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for somebody to tap you on the shoulder.
Exactly.
Stand up and lead. Make something happen, right?
Exactly, yeah.
A book, or not, I asked about a book before, and this one of the guests doesn't read books. So I was like, so a book or an online resource that has had a big impact on you.
Yeah, I read a lot. I have a
Good.
mini library at home. Okay.
Great.
So I read book based on my position where I am in at this time. So after I became an entrepreneur, or during the last 2 years, several books I was searching for. 2 books made, can I tell you 2 books? Or
Absolutely. 2 is fine. Yeah.
2 books made a huge difference in my opinion. Was number 1 was Built to Last.
Built to Last.
Successful Habits of Visionary Companies. That's the...
Is that the one, is that the follow-up to Good to Great, or was that the one before Good to Great?
After that.
It was after.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I love Good to Great.
That was my correction. Maybe I'm wrong, but my opinion is this is a after Great to Good to Great.
I remember maybe it was the epilogue of Good to Great of a subsequent edition or something, where he had said, people asked me about like CompUSA, and there were a couple other companies, maybe 1 or 2 other companies that had folded. after he featured them as a company that went good to great.
Yeah.
And so they said, okay, well, you can be good to great, but how do you not go from great to then failing? So built to last might very well be that. Okay, what was the other one?
That is by Jim Collins and Jerry Poros. But built to last, you will get a lot.
I love that guy. Yeah.
The second book is the 10x rule.
What is it?
The 10x.
10x rule.
Yeah.
And who's that?
That is by Grant Cardone.
Okay. Excellent.
The caption for that book is the only difference between success and failure. That is you have to put 10x effort. That makes the difference between success and failure. So you said certain books, when you just open that, you start from the beginning to
end,
in just continuously within few days,
or
few hours like that. For me, these two books made the difference lately.
It just grabs you and pulls you in.
Exactly.
Yeah, great.
It helped me to shape my thought.
Excellent. Excellent. So Raj, this has been great. I appreciate you coming in, and I tell you what, guys, you could do a lot worse than listening to what Raj has to say about entrepreneurship. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there is one thing I wanted to add to that is last few months, as I mentioned to you, I talked to a lot of experts in my field.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was interacting with them, everybody, one thing, almost 90%, there is one commonality with 90% of the people whom I spoke was, they all had ideas. But nobody took a plunge. Nobody started doing that. Because that felt, for me, I felt, my God, there are so many ideas which could make a lot of difference in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the point I wanted to make is not necessarily you have to quit the job and then start doing anything like that. But the key thing is not to let those entrepreneurship mindset, that innovative mindset, to die, because this is the right time for doing a lot of implementing ideas. There are a lot of different ways you can get your things done, get your ideas into the market.
Yeah.
Because a few days back I was talking to a professor, and he is a successful entrepreneur, and he started his company in 1997.
Oh, wow.
So he was mentioning that at that time it was difficult. I can totally agree with what he said, because around that time I was in the university too. Because at that time starting a company and everything was a difficult one.
Mm-hmm.
But now there are a lot of opportunities. You can do this as a second job. And do this one.
The internet's really opened up so much.
Exactly, yeah.
Your software, I believe I asked you if you had software developers you were working with, and of course you do, right? They're contractors. They may not even be here in town. They may be not in the United States. They could be, you can find the best talent for the best price, and just so many resources out. The freelancer.com is a great place to go.
Exactly.
Whether you need something written, like a marketing piece, or you need some software developed, you can go out there and find it.
And if you are in Indiana, there are a lot of opportunities there. A lot of institutions, they are helping you to succeed.
That's a great point.
Your ideas like Purdue Foundry, IBRA, and AgriNovas, and there are Crossroads, and then there are a lot of organizations. They are willing to help you. So there is something to think about for anyone. There's nothing to be afraid of. There is already a lot of resources. This is the right time to do.
There's a lot of help.
Like that.
Great.
Many ideas should come to the market. That was my only idea, only vision for me.
Thank you for adding that in there. That's fantastic. All right, well, that'll be it for today. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate having you.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me here. Thank you.
You have just experienced the Life Science Effect. If you liked it, be sure and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And more importantly, tell your colleagues, your boss, your friends. It'll make you look smart. Maybe it'll even get you a raise. Thanks again to our presenting sponsor, BPM Associates. Set your medical innovations in motion. BPM helps life sciences companies design, manage, and execute their most complex projects? What effect will you cause? And thanks to today's guest. Let us know who else I should be talking to. Send me an email at steven.vinson@bpm-associates.com. That's all for now. Thanks for listening. Now go make something wonderful happen.